packed short things stormed out in a mood. Curtain call shows that you won't leave soon. Just gotta get your head in the right place. Alone, so you fake it. Come back, but you're not changing. I thought we wanted the same thing. I'm so tired of running, and all the hearts you're running. Another smile and apology. We all fake love the same way. Tell me what you really mean. I thought we wanted the same thing. Another lie to keep the peace. We all fake love the same way. A beating heart lies beneath your floor. Buried deep, the truth that you want more. I'll let you stay 'cause I'm lonely. Speaking soft, you say hold me. I fall for it every time. You always hear the same damn lies. We all fake love the same. Pretend to numb the pain. I'm so tired of running, and all the hearts you're running. Another smile and apology. We all fake love the same way. Tell me what you really mean. I thought we wanted the same thing. Another lie to keep the peace. We all fake love the same way. Another smile and apology. We all fake love the same.
Hello guys, let's get that Dortmund Real Madrid stuff out of here. Let's get out of here. There we go. Hello guys, welcome to the final ever Nobbins live stream before I go on holiday in a few days. Not the final one ever, that'd be weird. Fuskan, okay mate, right, okay. I've got no patience because I've not had proper sleep in a few days because I'm working on that video and the first comment you say on it is literally a complaint. Why do you think I said that? Could it be because I maybe made a slight error and got 5 and said 5 instead of 6 and it's an error of one fucking game? Anyway, you fucking think. Your brain, guys, come on. I'm in a very irritable mood. I've not slept. Trying to work on that video for you guys. Hopefully you all enjoyed it. Go watch it after this stream. You better had. What we're going to do today, guys, is have a Q&A, of course. And what I also want to have happen is I want us to have a chat, and we're also actually going to review with my touchscreen and everything. We are going to review Man City's squad. I've been inspired by, I wasn't able to watch all of it, but I think with one of LB's recent chats, one of his recent live shows with Martin, and they were chatting about, you know, what do they think the squad's going to look like next season? What sort of players might we bring in? What's the practicality of bringing in said players based on, you know, Grealish might not be leaving, Bernardo might not be leaving, etc., etc. So what I wanted to do today, again, using the power of my touch screen over there, is basically, and my tactics board, is basically discuss the squad dynamic situation, practically from a numbers perspective. Should we be looking to bring people in? Should we be looking to sell people? Is it practical to bring in X, Y, Z? That sort of thing. I'm not going to... As you guys know, I think I've mentioned this, I want us to bring in 3 players. I'm not going to reveal who they are now because that's the next video that will be released. Hopefully, I'm going to work on that tonight after this stream. And then tomorrow we'll go on... I'm going on holiday. I won't be back until like the start of the Euros, basically. So I want to have that video ready for you guys. I've got the analysis done. Just need to do the editing. Because I want you guys to have a visually nice experience. No Lucas for us babos. Is that a Pacatar one, mate? How you doing? Hello, Justin. It was a great video. Thank you all to me. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. Just watched it. Says Jaden. Thank you. Loved your title tactics. Shut up, Jack. Love the video. Thank you so much. Armpit. Hello, Eden. How we doing? Big up to you. I've always liked your profile picture from The Boys. I think the new seasons of that's dropping soon, isn't it, as well? Yes. Of course, we'll do watch-alongs for the Euros. Absolutely. Hello, Elder. Mackie apparently wants at Chelsea. They all want our sloppy seconds. So what we're going, as I say, what we're going to do, guys, we're going to start with the squad review. Keep your comments coming because I will still be able to see them. I won't be able to bring them up on the screen, but I can see them still over there on my other monitor. And then afterwards, we can just do sort of like a end of like season vibes, Q&A, whatever sort of situation. I'm going to click this button. We'll go over there. We'll see what happens because sadly I had a power cut the other day and it sort of fucked up my entire microphone settings over there. So it might not sound as good, but here we go. One sec, guys. Why has it done that? Oh, I told you my microphone settings were fucked. But why has it done that? Well, that's really frustrating. That should not be happening. That shouldn't be happening, guys. Why wouldn't it be working? Why wouldn't it be working? One sec. This is an incredibly professional operation. I wouldn't put it past you guys if you just wanted to leave, to be honest. Hopefully we can sort that. If not, I won't be able to do the touchscreen shenanigans. Apologies. It's not working. It's a totally different microphone over there. But for some reason, it's not working. I'll try it one more time. We'll try it one more time. But if it doesn't work, we'll just have to stay over here, I'm afraid, and not use my touchscreen. Just a massive L. It's a massive L. Let's have a look, see. No. Okay, that microphone is still not working. This one is, but the other one isn't. Right, well, sorry about that, guys. I'll just bring the thing over here. Oh, I wanted to use my touchscreen. Oh, well, what now? Fine. Beauty of a power cut. Right, so, here's the thing, guys. Let's whip this out for you. Let's whip this out properly. Full screen. To the internet. Yeah, class. Always class. Oh my god, absolute bullshit. Mike has fucked up his PSG. Oh dear. Yeah, this is absolute horror. Absolute horror. Right, guys. Okay, that's made it work, hasn't it, sort of? Okay, so this is the state of play. This is the squad. Yes. This is a squad. If you guys, if you haven't watched my video, my title tactics video, go watch after this stream because it's sick and I spent days working on it. So you better go enjoy it. What we have on the left, guys. What we have on the left. No. Let's start with what we have on the right first of all. You guys can tell me what you think we have on the left. On the right, the red and black stripes. This signifies our current squad. Okay, this signifies our current squad. Of the 23-24 season. That's what we have here. All the players. All of the players, all of the time. Even the players. Can't believe what you're seeing. What's that, Jack? Oh, yes. Sorry. All the senior players, or seniorish players. Like Scott Carson's not here, I'm afraid. Respect the turtleneck. What we have on the left is what is, in my opinion, the greatest squad in Premier League history. And that is Man City's 18-19 squad, which is the exact same as the Centurion squad. The only difference is that you got Mahrez in there and like Foden's got a bit more experience. They are the same teams from 2017 to 19. It's basically the exact same team across those 2 years. So here's the thing, guys. Here's what we are going to do. I want to get my phone. What we are going to do is we are going to, as best we can, I do, Donna, absolutely. What we are going to do is, as best we can, replicate that squad in respect of the numbers anyway, because there was no issues there in respect of numbers. Lots of people were saying, how are you going to fit all these players in? I don't even know who they is, massive favour, I can't lie to you. The squad was ridiculous, yes, indeed. But it worked, like the players got like the requisite amount of game time, So we're not just going to try to create it, profile for profile, but we are at least going to create it in respect of the number and, as I say, the minutes and whatever. Now, some of these positions pick themselves, and that's absolutely fine. Obviously, Ortega is Ortega. Sorry, Ortega is Bravo. Edison is Edison. In fact, how much of a weekly allowance do you need? Adonna, as much as you can give me, mate. As much as you can give me. In the first instance, I am going to upset some people here. We are just going to get rid of the players who have no chance. Like Calvin Phillips, for example. I'm sorry, but get in the bin. Realistically. He's going to be sold or loaned out, isn't he? Sergio Gomez, I don't really know why he's here, to be honest. So he's going to go as well. Peroni, I can't see him being used at all. So again, he's going to be going. McAtee, again, either being sold or loaned out. He's going to be going. Cancelo, once again. Not yet for this chap. The Argentinian guy. What's he called? Echeverry? Don't know how to pronounce it. These guys are basically no-hopers in respect of like what, next season from a Man City perspective. So already we've whittled it down by 6 players. Couto as well. Anyone thinks that Yan Couto is going to be seeing a minute of football for Man City next season, you are dreaming, unless we heavily alter the system. Because in the same way that we are not going to go for a Frimpong, we are not going to be playing Yan Couto, a fullback who is not naturally inclined to be good in the duels and good defensively. It ain't happening. It ain't happening. So those players immediately can go, these ones here. So that leaves us with all of these players up here. Now, step by step, band for band, we are going to be cross-referencing and checking the players and the personnel. It might not match up in respect to quality, but the idea is to at least start, and this is my own visual aid as well, to see what players are available, etc., etc. So Edison is Edison, and again, we are comparing it to the 2018-19 squad. Edison is Edison. Bravo is Ortega. Ortega is Bravo. Now, let's go to the centre-backs. We've got Company, Stones, Otamendi, and Laporte. So here, we've got, so that's 4 centre-backs, 4 out-and-out centre-backs. Well, Laporte technically did a bit on the left, Stones on a bit of the right, but in the main, Akanji, Ake, Stones, and Diaz. Diaz is Company, Stones is Stones, Akanji is Otamendi, and Ake is Laporte. Okay, no stress here so far. This all makes sense. Moving on to the fullbacks. Walker is Walker. I'm going to get into who Danilo is. Not yet though. Mendy and Delph hardly played in that sort of in that period because Mendy was injured and Delph played more in the Centurions, but not really in the Formidables year. So don't worry, Elder, we'll get to that in the minutes situation. So I think realistically, you can say that Mendy and Delph are one player. I'm going to say that they're both Gvardiol. We're comparing it to 18-19 because this is, for me, the greatest squad in Premier League history. So we are wanting to replicate the numbers because if for me, this is like a brilliantly and beautifully balanced squad and plenty of players got enough game time. So that's what I'm trying to think in my head. Again, Gvardiol can basically both Mendy and Delph because neither really played that much. Zinchenko is a tricky one, but Zinchenko is basically, and he's not here for, yes he is, Rico Lewis. Technically a midfielder who's going to fill in at fullback. That's what Rico Lewis is, especially with the whole inverting situation. Zinchenko is Rico Lewis for me. So that, you know what I mean? So in respect of the numbers, that still matches up and that's fine. And again, I will repeat, I'll get into who is the Danilo alternative in a moment. Then we move on to midfielders. Fernandinho is Rodri. Yes. Gundogan, we'll get onto that. Bernardo Silva of then is Phil Foden of now. De Bruyne is De Bruyne. And the Bernardo one we'll come back to. Because again, there's a question mark over here. There's a question mark over here. That then gets us into the more forward sort of players. Now, Foden of then is what I think Bob is now in respect of the amount of minutes that he could be expected to get. He barely played in the Centurions year. He only got he like featured in 5 games, and that was just to, you know, get the medal. Played a bit more in 18-19, actually got a goal against Spurs, which we needed to win the title. So in respect of like an equivalence of minutes, that's where I can see Oscar Bob playing. And again, we'll get into that in a moment. Mahrez is like Grealish. Sterling is like Doku. Sane, we'll get into. We could say Sane Savio for now, actually. Again, we will have a chat about Savio. Thank you very much for that, Martha. Aguero and Jesus, that's easy because it's just it's Haaland and it's Alvarez. So this leaves us in this awkward predicament with these 3 players. Now, let's start filling in these gaps because, surprise, surprise, guys, I'm of the opinion that we need a new right back. No, I'm not saying that they're of quality. I'm saying that they're both wide players. That's what I'm saying. I am of the view, lads, that we need another right back. In my next YouTube video, I'll be doing a detailed review of the 3 players I want, why I want them, with clips and everything. So I am going to reveal who he is in a few days. But suffice to say, guys, I'm of the view we need a new right back. Why? Because if we want to keep doing the system whereby we have we create the box midfield with the fullback going up and progressing and having to be a right winger, essentially. We ain't doing that with Kyle Walker. We saw what happened this season. It's not an ideal predicament and situation. He's not a creative offensive player. He's not a playmaker. It's not his fault, but at the end of the day, it's 2024. It's not prime 2015 Spurs or whatever. He's not that guy anymore. He's also become a bit of a defensive liability. In my opinion, we need an upgrade on Walker. So actually, Walker is Danilo. In Nobbins' squad, Walker is Danilo. He becomes the backup right back, whatever, like, you know, makeshift player. Not saying he'll never play. Not saying he'll never play, but he's a squad player. We must. No, I think I said in that video, he had the 10th most minutes of any City player in our treble-winning year. He had the 4th most minutes this year that's just gone by. That is ridiculous for a player who's on the decline, and that cannot happen. Now, you're forgetting the systems we play are dependent on the players we've got, and that changes season on season, which is exactly why I'm saying that we can't do that next season if we have Walker, nor should we persist with it, because again, it was rubbish. And I don't even know if that's true, by the way. I think if Stones was fully fit and available this whole season, I'm pretty sure that Pep just sticks with that same system. He was desperate to go back to it. He tried to get Akanji to do it. I think that he'll get Gvardiol to do it next year. That's what we're going to get into later in the video there. So new right back for me is an essential. Now, you can debate that if you want. That's absolutely fine. But the numbers, clearly, if we take that out, again, relative to the numbers of this squad, which we're trying to replicate bar for bar, etc., we need that right back. So there we go. He's staying. He's coming in. We need a Bruno Guimaraes. Spoilers. Well, that's not a spoiler. You guys all know who I want. I want Bruno Guimaraes. I've not put his name in because we just need someone who's a 6'8". That could be João Neves. That could be Bruno Guimaraes. Hopefully it's Bruno. But that's who we need there. I haven't labelled him as Bruno G. That's my personal preference. You guys know that. I've gone on record saying that. But regardless, we need someone here. Like, obviously, we can't. There is no way we can go into another season with a Gundogan-shaped hole. That must not happen, okay? So we obviously need someone there. Obviously. That's not in dispute. And for me, that is the main position, actually. If we're only going to sign one player, it must be this position and this role. It has to happen. We can't go another year without doing that. What the hell, Jack? Yes, I do. He's my boy. So now, what we've actually created is a situation where we've replicated the 18-19 one in respect of numbers, nearly actually, because we actually haven't, because there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. I said Gvardiol is both Mendy and Delph. So, and this is the Bernardo question. Nobody remembers the 12-13 season. Wait, what? What's going on? I don't know what that means. I don't know what's going on with Bernardo Silva. Now, I was under the impression that he was leaving and definitely going, but now apparently PSG aren't interested or whatever, which is stupid, by the way. That's mad. Like, if a player of Bernardo Silva's quality is available for 15, I don't care. I don't care if it's a release clause. I don't care if you got to pay it all in one lump sum. I don't care. You make your finances work to get Bernardo Silva. But apparently they don't want to do that. So if Bernardo stays, this is where it probably becomes a little bit tricky. Because I'm of the view, guys, that we need another right winger. I don't know why I said right, just winger. Because I want them to play on both sides. Now, I appreciate, guys, that we have Savio here. New signing, exciting from Girona, etc., etc. I appreciate that. My thought process, though, is that he's incredibly young and inexperienced and has had one season in a sort of like a high level. I don't really know what's going on in respect of... I'd be very, very surprised if Savio came straight into City and was like a main guy. I'd be very surprised at that. The reason Doku has got the minutes he's got this season, because there's no world in which Doku was supposed to play the amount of minutes he did play this year. The reason why that happened was because we had to escalate his progression because we were struggling to break down low blocks because we had no De Bruyne in the side, so we had to find other avenues of attack. And Grealish was out for however long. So those two things combined basically forced his escalation. So if he gets 1 minute, no, Jack, I don't disagree with that. I just don't know if he's going to be, like, let's say first game of the season, Stones system, whatever. So the 3-2 built out like that. So it means you play two proper wingers. And if we are looking to sort of move on from the more control-based wingers, as I say, like Grealish, Bernardo, where that's more the emphasis, then that means the only two options are Doku and Savio, realistically. And I don't think that Savio is going to be thrown in at the deep end that immediately. I don't think it's going to be a case of he won't play, because he will play a lot of games. Of course he will. He can play both. He can play on the left and the right. That's not an issue for him. I would just be very surprised if he was sort of like trusted to be like, like a starting main man out wide, again, based on the relative inexperience. So I do think, for me, we need another wide player. I'm not going to tell you guys, I'm not going to say who that is. That'll be revealed in my 3 transfers video. But we'll park that to one side for a minute. For the sake of argument, let's say that Bernardo does leave. For argument's sake. I hope Bob doesn't get loaned out, because I really want Bob to stay. I love Bob. Now, again, we're saying this for argument. Bernardo leaves. Fine. So that then means... What does it mean? In respect of numbers, 4, 8, 12, 16, 20, so we're 2 short relative to that. So in that instance, we would be able to have another wide player come in. And then we've got Nunes and Kovacic, obviously. So if Bernardo leaves, if we sign these 3 players that I'm after, then we will have 1 additional player compared to the 2018-ish seasons. And we've also got to consider that Kovacic is not going to... I'd be very surprised if Kovacic is here by the end of next season. So I'd be surprised if he was still a City player in 2026. I'd be very surprised at that. There's also the question mark around, I think Kyle Walker will have gone by then. There's a question mark of whether Grealish will have gone by then. And there's a question mark of what's happening with De Bruyne as well. Will he sign an extension, or will it just be like a 1-year thing, or whatever? So the numbers do add up if we sell Bernardo. If we don't sell Bernardo, though, then there is clearly not scope to sign an additional wide player, probably. Probably. Even if we're like being incredibly long-term about it and saying, well, let's just pretend Kovacic doesn't exist for the purposes of this season. I don't really know if there would be much point in it. I think that this only happens if Bernardo does end up going, and then maybe like Bob can become that more utility player, or even this guy. Now let's have a chat about Darwin Núñez, Mateus Núñez, because Ultimate says, do you think Núñez stays? And so just to sort of like wrap up that section, I've heard a lot of good things about Bakayoko. Just to sort of like wrap up this section here, this is sort of, I don't want Bernardo to leave, and if you've got the opportunity for Bernardo to stay, I think you keep him because there's no player like him in the world. He's unique like that. But if there ever was a year to move him on, I do feel like now is the time. So if he wants to go and if he can go, I think that now is the time to say thank you and goodbye, etc. Love him, legend, etc. If that happens, then for me, this is like really good from a squad building perspective. Because again, you've got to consider, I don't know how many minutes Kovacic would play when we bring in this player. Will Savio be trusted to be that main guy? Probably not. Stones is an injury risk. KDB is an injury risk. Even Grealish this season, injury risk. So it might look like one additional body, but in terms of like the actual scope of the minutes, it probably actually does add up and probably does make sense, to be fair. Jack says, I don't know what to do with Núñez now Paquetá's off the table. Well, let's have a chat about that then, shall we? Because in order for... So, for example, let's have an honest conversation here. Because I like Mateus Núñez as a player. I think he's got a very high ceiling. I think he could become a great player. Eyebrows going to get erased as Bailey Atkinson. Oh, no, he is a fantastic player. I just don't know whether he's going to be thrust in immediately at 20 years old and only having 1 year of top 5 league experience, etc. So yeah, I like Núñez as a player, but let's have an honest conversation here, because we all know that had we signed Paquetá last summer, Núñez would not be here. And we tried to go in for Paquetá again this summer. We wanted to go in for him again, but we can't because of the charges against Paquetá. So that should tell you a lot about what the club thinks in the first instance. In the second instance, let's be incredibly fair and create a best case scenario for Mateus Núñez in respect of where's he going to start in the City side. Is he going to start in the City side? So let's just pop the not first teamers away for a second. So Bob there. Let's assume, for argument's sake, let's go fun and say we're going to play these two wide players. Okay, so we got De Bruyne, Foden. In fact, I just need to. My brain's not functioning right now. So we have Gvardiol over here. That's fine. Should we play a 2-3-5 or a 3-2-5? We'll go for the classic John Stones. Why not? In fact, let's predict Gvardiol to do the Stones role. That would be fun. Where's Rodders? Where is Rodders? There he is. We'll have Diaz there. Let's pretend that Stones is healthy. Crazy. No, he's not going to be healthy. Let's just play Kanji there and Ake there, because why not? So this is the state of play. This is the state of play. We're going to have Doku and Savio can play either wing. I personally want Doku to be a right winger long term. So for now, I'm going to pop Savio on the left. Where's Big Erling? There he is, left back for some reason. Now. Núñez is the question. Let's highlight him there, just to make it really obvious who we're talking about. Now, in general, I'm not saying this is going to be the team, because this probably wouldn't. This wouldn't work because Rodri's on his own. But bear with me for a second, guys. So this is a team which we could reasonably foresee. Which we can reasonably foresee. Let's construct teams and best case scenarios where Núñez might play in midfield, and sort of put into perspective the challenge that he's going to have getting a relatively consistent place in this City side. Now, Yeah, Matty, we're assuming he's not joining because of that. Get Gavardio out to midfield. Hey, I'm being hopeful and hoping he can do the Stones role. Now, for next season. Now, again, let's start with this Stones situation. Which, again, wouldn't really work because De Bruyne's there. I'm going to be totally realistic. Okay. This is like the Gundogan guy, etc. Now, if we're doing the Stones system, he's obviously not going to play instead of Rodri because he's not a DM. So that immediately that space is gone. Of the 4 available positions in midfield, that space doesn't exist because Rodri's there, or the new 6'8" who can cover for him. If we're doing the Stones system, obviously that's going to be one of Stones or Rico Lewis or Akanji or Gavardio or whoever's going to go into there. So that position's a no-go for him. So that means that he would be competing in terms of the more offensive midfield positions. He's got no chance of going into the base of the 2 if it's the Stones system. So that means he's assuming Bernardo leaves. If he doesn't leave, he's also competing with Bernardo. If he doesn't, that means that the potential players who can play there are this new 6'8", Bruno Guimaraes, hopefully, Foden, Kevin De Bruyne, Rico Lewis, Oscar Bob, Kovacic, and there's even a world where maybe Jack Grealish is given that mantle in some games, maybe. To be totally fair, I won't include Grealish because why not? But that's 6 players there that I've named. Now let's get rid of Kova for argument's sake, because what's the point in developing Kovacic? Because he's 87 years old. I know he's not even that old, but I'm just trying to create a best case scenario for Núñez. We're not even going to consider Kovacic. We're not going to consider Grealish. But there is De Bruyne, and there is Foden, and there is the Bruno Guimaraes type player, and there is Rico Lewis, and there is Oscar Bob. If Pep's still got his weird fetish, there's also Alvarez to go there. So in terms of consistent minutes, unless a big player leaves, or we just sack off the development of Rico Lewis and Oscar Bob, which we must not do, Núñez ain't going to play in the more advanced midfield positions. That's not me having a go. That's just practical. Look at the bodies. Bob is not a winger. Bob is a pocket player. Lewis is not a right back long term. I think he's a midfielder long term. I'm not willing to hinder the development of Oscar Bob and Rico Lewis for Matheus Núñez at this stage. I don't think that's reasonable. This is not like and if we do play Núñez ahead of them, then you're looking at Lewis and Bob and you're like, right, who's like one of the players in their way? And it's not like when it was like Phil Foden at City in the early days at City when he had David Silva and De Bruyne and Gundogan and Bernardo Silva to contend with. It's Matheus Núñez. I'm not being funny, but who was better last season, Rico Lewis or Núñez? Who was better last season, Bob or Núñez? Bob and Lewis were both better. I'm personally not willing to hinder the development of those players from a central perspective, outside of injuries. I really hope Bob and Rico don't get loaned out. Because, no, that would annoy me if that happened. Because again, someone tell me that Núñez was better than both Lewis and Bob last season. It's not true. So are we really going to hinder their development to squeeze Núñez into the team? No, I don't think so. So that's if we play the Stones system. Let's now give him an even better chance and play the false winger system. So with this one, let's just pop these lads back here. So with this false winger system, we can have, let's say, Gavardio pushing up to left wing. Why not? The Bruno Guimaraes type player goes there. So this is where Kovacic was last season. This season, whatever. He's there. And obviously you got Doku out wide. The fullback's got to go there. So now, and actually to be fair, that could work as well. So now we've created a situation where there are 3 available positions for Núñez, alongside Rodri or ahead of one of the 2s. Now, the 2 situation hasn't changed. It's still, you can still play Lewis there, you can still play Bob there, De Bruyne, Foden, etc. But you can also play the Bruno Guimaraes type player up there. So he's competing with an extra body there. In terms of the positions next to Rodri, at this point, he's competing with the Bruno Guimaraes type player. He's also probably competing with, you can maybe even say Rico Lewis, potentially. Kovacic as well. So if we are being absolute best case scenario, there's only really one system where Núñez has a half chance of getting into a midfield position on a long-term basis. It's important to stress that on a long-term basis and in the more important games. This, guys, has led me to my conclusion, which I have mentioned on LB's channel before. My conclusion is that Núñez, in order for him to have a Man City future, cannot be a midfielder. Or he can't be expected to be a central player long term. The numbers just don't add up, and the competition just doesn't add up. I'm gonna put on the screen like what I think could be like maybe our best team. Just for argument's sake, am I gonna put in the new right back? Yeah, why not? For vibes. And pop you there, and we'll pop you there, and let's pop Doku in there on the left. Bruno Guimaraes type player there, Foden there, De Bruyne there. This, guys, I think, would be our best team, in my opinion. Well, if he's available, Stones, but I doubt he's going to be fully fit. Now, you say Núñez not right back. Well, let's get into that, shall we? Let's get into that. Because 3-2-2-3. Yeah, 11. Because I've established that, in my opinion, you can't play centrally unless we hinder the development of Lewis and Bob, and I'm not willing to do that. Now, you guys are saying right back. Now, I'm personally not even... That's not even my preferred choice, but what I will say is that in order for him to have a City future, in the first instance, he is going to have to learn to become an auxiliary player, for me. Unless you want to hinder the development of Lewis and Bob. In which case, the out-of-possession stuff would be a bit confusing because he's not a right-back. However, he was very good at right wing and left wing in those games, wasn't he? So I can see a world where actually maybe Núñez is developed into that sort of player where he becomes an auxiliary winger and maybe half and half a fullback. Sort of like Delph, in a way. Not really, actually. Not like Delph at all. Don't really know why I said that. You hopefully get what I'm trying to say. In order for him to have a future, he's got to be able to add strings to his bow. Because once again, if you think he's getting in the team outside of mental injury issues, if you think he's playing over the Bruno Guimaraes player, Kovacic, De Bruyne, Foden, again, if we're doing the false winger situation, then we're introducing the likes of Doku to be competing with him in midfield. It's not happening. It's simply not happening. Love that from you, Jordan. Hope you enjoyed it, my mate. So that's the thing. I'm not saying get rid of Núñez, but Iptris, you tell me, mate. You tell me, where's he going to play consistently if we bring in this actual Gundogan replacement? He's not going to play ahead of De Bruyne. He's not going to play ahead of Foden. He shouldn't play ahead of Bob. He should not play ahead of Lewis. He probably doesn't even really play ahead of Kovacic. But tell me, but that's the thing, he's going to have to become that. He's going to have to become that. I don't think get rid of him. There is still a world. There is still a future for him at City, 100%. And sometimes he can play those midfield minutes. But in general, outside of bizarre injuries... Oh, Will, you missed the start of it. We were constructing the Man City squad. You have Rico and Bob going on loan. So you're sacrificing 2 players which were better than him last season to accommodate him. For me, that would be mental. Rico Lewis is a potential future Man City captain in like 7 years' time or whatever. Oscar Bob hardly played last season, but whenever he did, he didn't look like an academy player. That's the thing. These two players are not academy players anymore. They are just players. They are that good. Rico Lewis isn't good for a young player. He's a good player. Oscar Bob isn't good for a young player. He's a good player. There is no... We must not... Okay, and if you're going to force me, because if you're saying that the only way we can get Nunes into midfield consistently is to loan out Bob and Lewis, then I will say sell Nunes, because we must not lose these two starlets. There is no world in which there's no world in which that can happen for me. No chance. Bob needs to be developed into a more central player. That's where his future is. I think there's a world where De Bruyne ultimately leaves, Foden takes on that mantle, and maybe Bob steps up and becomes Foden's alternative there. I think that can work. Going for competition, sensible games, we need squad players who play in early rounds and a Carabao Cup. Even then, though, Bree, I'd rather play Lewis and Bob in midfield. I'm not saying that Nunes can't be useful, but I am once again, I will repeat once again, and let's make it even more favourable situation. League Cup game at home against Birmingham. I don't know, something like that. We're still going to put our strong side because that's what Pep does. In which case, let's make that team. Let's make that team, shall we? So Ortega would be in goal. That's fine. Alvarez would play instead of Haaland. That's fine. Where is Alvarez? Where's Julian? There he is. De Bruyne would be rested. Let's say Foden's rested. Now, if Rodri is rested, this player must play because there's no alternative. So he has to play. That's fine. Walker, who I want to become the backup player, he can play at the right back. That's fine. / right centre back. I don't know. Ake, Kanji, why not? I'm just trying to ad-lib this. Who else would we have, potentially? We'll put Rico Lewis over here for now. Same with Bob. Same with Nunes. Doku. Savio. Let's say Grealish, for example. Why not? If we think that maybe Doku's going to become more of a guy, let's say that Grealish gets a start. Okay, so who's going to play out wide? We can have Savio there. Why not? Or we can just have Savio Doku. I don't really care what we do. So we've got Savio over there. So we've got 3, 2. So we need the 2 central players and then 1 there. So that means there's 3 spots up for grabs. Okay. And this is the ultimate situation where Rodri's being rested and where we are just deciding that Foden and De Bruyne are absolutely getting a rest. And we are assuming that Bernardo is sold. Let's be practical. Bernardo might not even be getting sold. Okay? So now, for 3 positions, even resting De Bruyne and Foden, and making it so we've got 4 midfield and resting Rodri and making so there are 4 midfielder slots, there now becomes 5 players for 3 slots. Okay? Well, Bob's got to play because he's the only pocket player there. So Bob's going to have to play, obviously. So now we are left in a situation where we have Bernardo, Kovacic, Nunes, and Lewis all vying for 2 spots. Why? Let's not consider Kovacic just for argument's sake. So let's be honest, he's going to play Bernardo. So it comes down to Nunes and Lewis, and this is in the best case scenario, where we're at home in the League Cup against weak opposition. We're still going to have a strong team. So now what you're asking me to do, if we are compelled to play Nunes in the midfield, You are telling me that we have to sacrifice the development of Lewis to do that, essentially. Because now, where does Lewis play? Where's he going to get his minutes from? If we can't fit Rico Lewis into the side in the easiest scenario, he's not going to get consistent minutes in midfield. It's just not going to happen. This is why I personally don't know if I foresee Núñez's future in the centre. Lewis can fetch a high fee. Yeah, I'm sure he can, mate, but he's staying. I'm not getting rid of Rico Lewis. What's going on here? We're not selling Rico. We'll be doing watch-alongs, Tommy, definitely. Maybe some analysis videos as well. So this is what I'm not saying that we give up on Núñez. I'm not saying that he's a bad player. I'm not saying that we have to sell him. I'm not saying he can't do these positions. What I am saying is that if you want to play him in the midfield, you are going to be sacrificing the development of Rico Lewis and or Oscar Bob at the same time. That is the reality of this. That's being frank and brutal and honest. And I will repeat, these two beautiful players are beautiful, were better than Núñez last season, are children, and are only going to get better, and the sky is the limit for them, potentially. I was totally fine in backing off on wanting Foden to start because he had Gundogan and De Bruyne and David Silva and Bernardo ahead of him. Núñez is not that ilk of player. I'll repeat, Lewis and Bob were better than him last year. Why should they have to wait when they're playing better than him now? That doesn't seem fair to me. That doesn't seem right. Don't sell him, but he needs to evolve and needs to add strings to his bow. Now, maybe that would result in him playing over here or whatever. Let's pop Lewis over there. Maybe that results in this sort of situation. Yeah, Jack, hey, I still... that would have been a better call and a better shout than starting Alvarez there. I'll tell you that right now. I still back that shout. That would have been great. That, to me, makes more sense. As everyone knows, I love Grealish. But he's in his late 20s. He might not be here at the end of next season. Or whatever. I can't see us giving him a contract extension. We seem to be moving away from that sort of thing. That, to me, makes more sense. Then, because if he can play on the left, and he can play on the right, and he can do the sort of fullback situation, maybe he can do the Rico Lewis. Maybe he could become this guy. Maybe he could be the starting right back inverting into midfield. Like a sort of Trent Alexander-Arnold situation. Maybe that's a future for him. But again, it ain't starting in midfield. It's starting at fullback and moving into midfield. It could also be starting at right back and going to right wing back for the false winger system. That is a future for him I can see. And that does not sacrifice the development of Oscar Bob or Rico Lewis. He develops as a player. He basically becomes the utility player. In the same way that Bernardo Silva, can play on the right and the left and double pivot 6 and left back and 8 and 10. Maybe Núñez becomes that guy. He can play 8. He can play double pivot 6. He can play on the left. He can play on the right. He can do the John Stones. He can do the Kyle Walker. Maybe that's what he has to do. I don't know. That's my thoughts on it, though. So in conclusion, guys, if Bernardo leaves, it becomes less of a concern in fairness, but that does seem less and less likely. Stones and Michael, what is going on here? Shavalaba as a Walker replacement. That does not fill me with excitement. That fills me with dread. I know who I want, and I will be... and you guys will know who I want in the coming days. Up the borough. Boob's potential is unbelievably high. Almost Foden level high. We can't allow this kid to go. I agree. Núñez is very good on the ball. Núñez is good. Núñez is a good player. I like his profile. I think he's good. I think he's versatile. I think he could become a utility player. I want to see him on the left, on the right, fullback, Stones-ish, Walker-ish. I do not want to see him what's it? Getting in the way of players who I think will be better than him. So that's my sort of take on it. So in conclusion, guys, basically, like the whole what we're saying here is that there is a world in which, because let's also think about it. Kovacic is probably not going to be here at the end of next season. So in respect of like long term, Kovacic ain't here. So that does obviously create another opening for Nunes in terms of like players he's having to compete with. If Bernardo does go, it might become even less of an issue. But if that does happen, then I want us to get another winger. I do want Gusto Thunderroad, but that ain't happening, mate. That is not happening. So I've got a realistic option for us who would be affordable, and ticks all the boxes. This guy can play right back, centre back, push up to right wing. He can play left centre back. He can play centre back in and out of possession. Right back out of possession. Right wing back out of and in possession. Good going forwards. Solid defensively. Youngish. Versatile. Good in the duels. Ruben Diaz-like aggression. Decent on-ball quality. Very good crosser. This is who we are after. And I'm so convinced that he would be brilliant. And it's so annoying because I ain't seen anyone talk about him. Anyone. And he hasn't been linked with anyone as far as I can see. He's right there. This isn't good. I'm not talking about Gusto. I'm talking about my guy. I'm talking about my guy, yeah? That's the state of play. Ben White. I don't want Ben White Thunder out. Although what is interesting is Ben White would be perfect for us. To be fair, he would be perfect. Thoughts on Kimmich? Reps asking Pep to extend. I don't want Kimmich. That's so no. I do not want Kimmich, guys. That, in my opinion, that would be a mistake. That would be a mistake. This guy would not cover the weaknesses of Rodri well enough, in my opinion. So there we go. There we go. Who's your guy? Lads, after this stream, I'm going to be finalising the video. I'm going to be finalising the video, and I'll schedule it to go out whilst I'm on holiday. So stay tuned for that. As I say, there are 3 players who I want. Guys, there's around 170 people watching, and we aren't even at 100 likes. This is why I ask for likes, guys. Come on. If I don't ask, I don't get. Come on, guys. Let's get up to over 100. Come on. Come on. Come on. Come on. Get it up here. Get it up here. Give me a like for not sleeping and for making that video for you guys. You better have appreciated it. You better have, or I'll pop off. I will pop off. This is a lovely comment. Great editing, Knobs. Analysis always been spot on, but you're marching on towards your final form here. What a cutie. What a lovely comment that is. I did work very hard on the editing, so hopefully you guys enjoy that. We'll stay live for like another sort of like 10 to 20-ish minutes, guys. Let's move on to the Q&A section, shall we? Because we have discussed we got some new subscribers. HD Gaming, Richie Miller, Nigel Smith. Thank you all for subscribing to the channel. Yeah, we've talked about the squad. We can still talk about the squad if you want. Let me know. But in terms of like actual topics, I don't really have anything specific to add. So if you guys have got any questions for me or just comment on anything, then do feel free to pop them in. And as I say, after this, I'll go back to working on that video. I still need to pack. Which should I do first? Pack or work on the video? I should probably pack. ID, a few days. Just wait a few days. Just wait a few days. It'll be worth the wait. It'll be worth the wait. Steve Black, I expect 5 out and 6 in. Who's going to leave though, Steve? If in terms of like the actual senior players, the one that was going to leave was Bernardo, but that's obviously not happening. Do you think we'll sell? Do you think we'll see Alvarez in midfield next season, or is that monstrosity over? It better be over. It had better be over. Because I'm not having another season where I lose my shit over a striker being played in midfield. Because if it happens again, I'm going to start disliking Alvarez, and that's not fair on him, because I really like Alvarez. But it's very hard to distinguish between his performances and the bald man who keeps playing him there. Do you know what I mean? It would make it very tricky for me to like him if he kept dropping stinkers in midfield. And let's be honest, that's what happened a lot this season. The season just gone too many times. Gave away the ball in dangerous areas, led to chances, led to turnovers, led to goals. And it's not even like it seemed to. I don't know why. Maybe it like impacted his confidence as well, but his finishing numbers were not good this year. People point to his goals and assists and go, he played well. He massively underperformed on his expected. We criticize Haaland for his underperforming, rightly so. But Alvarez underperformed to a worse degree. And even on the assists, his expected assists were a lot lower. So that tells you that actually the chances he was creating weren't that good. So I don't know what development has actually happened to his game this year, because you'd think maybe playing in midfield, I don't know, would like sort of like maybe help fast track your development in terms of like first touch and that sort of thing, but that obviously hasn't happened. So we just can't see it again. It's almost like a dead year for Alvarez in that respect. And it's not fair on him. It's not fair on him. It's not his fault. Against Alvarez playing as a shadow striker since the season, it's not always been in midfield. No, I did do a video on is Julian Alvarez good enough for City? And I discussed how when he's played as a second striker or shadow striker, whatever you want to call it, his performances were a lot better. But I still don't think that, in general, it's worth the trade-off of having him in there. Because if you have Alvarez in there, that means you don't have one of De Bruyne or Foden in there. And if we bring in a Gundogan replacement, you're not going to have him in there. It's not even a question of what is Alvarez's presence doing directly. The main issue for me is what is the indirect consequence of Alvarez being in there. And this season, the indirect consequence, too often, was Foden being shunted out to the wings. That was the indirect consequence. And for me, that is a bigger issue than the direct consequence. So there are some games where you could play him there. Like I think the perfect example was United at the Etihad. When he came on, he played well. But the reason why that worked was because we pinned United back so deep because they did not care about attacking us. So it meant that you didn't really need to have those sorts of players in the midfield because there wasn't really any risk of them doing anything or counter-attacking at all. So in those instances, it's fine, but in the main, not for me. Not for me. Overly fond of Alvarez. Again, I like Alvarez, but we have to accept that he wasn't particularly good this year. Whether it's his fault, I don't think it was, but it's not really relevant. He just wasn't that good. And there's nothing wrong with admitting that. That's not the same as telling me he's rubbish, get rid of him. Which that's many Fuscan. The best one is FB Ref, though, yes. Alvarez wants to go out the next season or the one after. If he does, then I wish him all the luck. But he's never going to become the main striker at City whilst Haaland's here. The levels are cataclysmic. Hello, City Loot TV. How you doing, mate? I checked Manchester evening and there was nothing. Alvarez, he is right, yeah, and that's where he's best used for me as a backup striker when Haaland needs a rest, or when you just need to rotate. Or if you do need to bring him on as an impact, that's fine. That's not an issue. But he should never ever see another minute in those deeper zones. The worst example was Chelsea at home. I still, to this day, I can't believe that Pep did that. I can't believe he did that. That decision is probably worse than not playing an out-and-out 6 in the Champions League final. That might be the worst decision Pep's ever made in terms of like starting lineup as City manager. Playing a striker as a double pivot midfielder out of possession against Chelsea, who we saw at Stamford Bridge twatted us in that respect. Crazy. Do you think Alvarez is better than Haaland playing between the lines and creating for space? Nah, Haaland's infinitely better because Haaland has gravity. Not all strikers have gravity. Haaland's first touch is better. Haaland's link-up play is better. His hold-up play is better. He's stronger. He has more gravity. He's obviously better finisher. Obviously better in the air. I'll give Alvarez probably shots from distance, ball striking from distance, but that might just be because Haaland doesn't really do it that frequently. I'm not abusing him. I'll repeat, I like Alvarez. Hello? Again, we need to distinguish between my issues with the notion of Alvarez playing in midfield and the consequences of that, and Alvarez as a player. Because I like Alvarez as a player a lot. He's really good. He's really good. But we did nearly lose the title this season because Pep was obsessed with shoehorning him into midfield. Both things can be true. Alvarez is a great player, but we nearly lost the title because Pep was obsessed with playing him in midfield. It's not a coincidence that he gets dropped from, if you hopefully watch my tactical season review video, it's not a coincidence that we looked our best post-Arsenal and Alvarez didn't play in the midfield once when Foden was on the pitch. I think he played not at striker once, maybe twice, but those were games when Foden wasn't playing, so it was irrelevant anyway. So yeah. Hello, Bendiv. Pace is the key to low blocks next season. That's why I really want a new winger. I want another winger to do that job alongside Doku. I want Doku right, this winger left, and it's going to be, oh my god. We're not going to sign this guy, but if we did, it would be an absolutely glorious time. I had the Walker debate. Hello, Leon. I won't go off topic, but he had a stinker this season. Not sure if there's much of a comeback. No, Leon, absolutely right. Yeah, we talked about him when we were talking about the squad. Again, I'll repeat, we need an upgrade there. And people have said Akanji, defensively, that's great. But if we are doing the false winger situation, then we need someone who's also comfortable pushing up to and being a creative outlet at right wing. Akanji's not that. Is to get Bruno Šiliković has to go. I think he'll go at the end of the next season, probably. Love that from you, Ayushi. Thank you for your support. You're my lovely little member. If you guys would like to do what Ayushi's done and become a member and get like a gold name badge and support me, if you enjoy my content, you can click the little join button to become a member, or the link is in every single channel video description, as Bailey has done as well. Shout out to Bailey. If you are able to. Anyway, it's £3 a month if you are able to, and it would mean the world if you could. But don't worry if you can't. You do get lots of lovely perks, and you get to support me as a member of the Ultras Club. I don't hate Alvarez. Stop. Verts, no. We lost the Champions League final. Wait, what? Alvarez is a good striker, and I like his link-up play with. But again, yeah, good striker. I agree. Good striker. Can Bernardo do the Gundogan role? Not really. It's not really his bag. He sort of did it. He tried to do it a bit this season, but he's not really that sort of player. He's not penetrative enough in his passing. Yeah. I like him though a lot. Obviously, it's Bernardo. Do you think Alvarez had a good game in the Brighton to win at home, or good game at Leipzig at home? Oh, Bailey, you're asking me to really think back there, my man. I can't. I'd have to rewatch them. That was so long ago. Brighton. My only memory of Brighton at home was that Foden was the best player on the pitch, starting at right wing. That's my memory of that game. Leipzig at home, is that the one where we changed to a diamond, or was that a Leipzig away? I'm getting my games confused. This is 2023. I know we beat Brighton 2-1. I think Alvarez scored. I just remember Foden being brilliant. I can't really remember though. Leipzig, was that at home or away though? I don't know. Where do we finish if we don't get Bruno? So basically, where do we finish if we don't improve the balance of the squad? totally depends on that. This season just gone, in my opinion, depended more on Arsenal than City. I've gone on record saying I don't think we did that well relative to our high standards. If we don't get a proper Gundogan replacement, we will end on around the same points and have around the same performances. I think we'll end on like high 80s next season, around like 88, 89-ish, if we don't get a proper replacement. If we do, mid 90s. I'm convinced of that. Mid or high 90s, I think. Freshen up the squads. But who's going to go, Steve? Apart from Bernardo. Bernardo's the main guy linked, but no one else, it seems. Leipzig always a free kick goal and a good assist on Doku. Yeah, I can't really remember. I'd have to watch them again. As I say, that was 2023. If we can't get Bruno, what about Valera from Porto? I know nothing about him, David. I can't lie. I thought you were going to say João Neves from Benfica. I actually have watched him now. I have actually scouted him. Still don't want João Neves though. If you could give me Bruno or João, I know I'm calling by his first name. I'm calling both by their first name. I'm just a casual sort of guy. João Neves is the sort of, he's probably got a higher ceiling, but ceilings are hard to predict, and he's not as good now. Bruno is like an instant improves the starting 11. Boom, you get me. That's sort of the main reason why I want him, to be honest. If Ederson left, oh god, there's no one. I don't even know who Musty, because there is no one out there who can do what Ederson can do to his standards. It would be a massive mistake to get rid of him. A massive, stupid, stinky mistake to get rid of him. Really incredibly stinky. Guys, 99 likes. There's 175 people watching. Come on. There's the 100. Good boys. Good boys. Oh god. Ortega is a class number 2, and that is what he should remain. If Echeverri or Savio are going to be part of the squad next season, right back we'd be happy with Yankuto. Not Yankuto, he's not our sort of right back, I'm afraid. No. We'll sell him for like 40 million euros or whatever. Not Hakimi, god no. I don't like Hakimi. Savio, I think, will be a part of the squad, and he will be played a lot. This Argentinian child, I don't think we'll see any of him until like De Bruyne leaves. I think that, whenever De Bruyne leaves, Foden will take his minutes. Maybe like a new signing will take Foden's minutes, and then maybe like Bob will take like Bernardo's minutes, and then maybe he will take Bob's minutes. That's sort of how it works. There's a finite amount of minutes that can be played. Sure, Musty. There's a finite amount of minutes that can be played. So that's how it works. Apologies, Brie. Apologies. Yes, I just didn't want to say that because that can border into the sort of yeah. Because I know some people have a bit of a thing for that term, so I didn't want to say it. But yes, Brie, absolutely. Shout out to the ladies, of course. Bloody Mazraoui. Oh, come on, guys. Don't let me down. Do not let me down. Get us to 115. Come on now. Let's get to it. I wonder what rabbit you think would suit us the most. I will reveal that in my video coming soon. Don't worry about it. It'll be worth it, guys. It'll be worth it. Don't skip ahead to that player either. I start with the 6'8 hybrid, I move on to the right back, and then I move on to the winger. It's like a 10-minute video. You better all watch it. Yeah? Because I'm going to bust my balls tonight to make that work before I go on holiday tomorrow morning. To get João Neves for the Roger replacement, he also wears his shirt tucked in. Yeah, on Neves, my sort of thing is that, again, he's not as good as Bruno right now. He also is not he's not as good in respect of like the goal scoring. Now maybe he'll develop that side to his game, but he has not scored a goal from open play this season, or at least certainly in the league. I don't know if that's in all comps, but certainly in the league. All of his goals are either start from a corner or a free kick. There's not enough open play goals right now. Again, maybe he'll add that string to his bow. Yeah, Jack, get it right on that, mate. Do you think he will now? Say that's my thoughts on Neves. Lots of people who I trust have said that we should get go for him, and you know that's fine. I'm of a different opinion, which is fine. Assuming we don't get them, well, that's an issue because we must get one of them. We must get one of them. Otherwise, I actually don't know what the answer is. I actually don't know what the answer is. I've sort of put my brain into a situation where I've convinced myself we are going to get one of them. If we don't, I don't know what's going to happen. Kimmich ain't the guy. He ain't going to cover for Rodri's weaknesses like these two would. Bruno will cost around 100 million, Michael, but it'll be worth it. It's a lot of money, but who cares? This is the going rate for these sorts of squads-defining midfielders. Rice is over 100 million, and Caicedo is over 100 million, and Enzo is over 100 million. This is just the going rate, it seems. It's a lot of money, but hey, it's a thing. That's the reality. This is the reality of the markets of which we find ourselves in. But why, Steve? We paid 100 million for Grealish's release clause. And Bruno is a more... Grealish wasn't even like, at that time, he wasn't even like an essential because we still had, you know, Sterling and Mahrez and I think Sane had gone by that point. But did we have someone else? Maybe we didn't. I don't know. It wasn't as... This is far more pressing. We can't go another year with no Gundogan there. This must not happen. We got very fortunate this year in winning the title in many aspects. Very fortunate that Arsenal were not able to capitalise and Liverpool couldn't capitalise. That's not going to happen again. 115, big up, Ultimate, big up. 115 likes, we love to see that. Thank you guys for that. It's done. Musial, Vert, Savia, defensive right, but maybe even Eze or Frimpong attack Robert. What is it, Alf? This is a shop. What is this? What is this? I asked you to go and get some bread and eggs, and you come back with turkey Twizzlers, Hubba Bubba Gum, and some fucking Johnnies. I just wanted bread and milk, or bread and eggs, whatever. What is this? What is this, Alf? Sort it out. Bruno G, yes. Musiala, no. Verts, no. Savio, confirmed. Defensive right back, no. Utility right back, yes. Eze, Frimpong, no. Oh, yeah, class. Bree says, Bruno isn't worth 100 mil, but he's worth... That is a perfect summation. A perfect summation. Is Bruno overpriced? Is he worth 100 million? No. Like objectively, no. 100% overpriced. But that second part is absolutely spot on. Is he worth it to City? Yes. And what's quite funny, Bree, is that I literally say that in the video. I say, what's the exact line I use? Let me whip out the line, because Bree, I think, have you leaked my Microsoft Words, mate? What are you playing at? Can you sort yourself out? Thank you. Where's my fucking document? New transfers. Here we go. Because I script my videos, guys. I'm sure, in case you couldn't tell. What do I say here? Expensive, of course. Overpriced, possibly. But worth it to City? Absolutely. There we go. That's my take on it. Is a right back realistic? Well, Robert, we discussed the squad's dynamic, and we've got to look at replacing Walker at some point. I don't see why it's not realistic. We can't go into another season with using Walker as the main right winger in this false winger system. That must not happen. He's getting worse as well. And it's getting a bit sad because I love Kyle Walker, but he's getting worse and he's becoming a liability. Yeah, can you imagine? If I could have any Real Madrid player, I'll tell you who it would be. It'd be Camavinga. That guy's class. Hello, Anonymous. Desperate to win the Champions League again next season. We have to strengthen the squad, especially if Pep leaves. Hey, if we and Bruno, anything can happen. What do you think of Peroni? Because I think after another season, he can have an impact. I don't know anything about him, sadly, John. I'd be very surprised if he got any game time at City. You should have a sick show, Jack. Arteta loves Arsenal, indeed. Hey, I'd love Reece James. KDB can't start. He's got to be managed more. Yeah, Walker's getting worse defensively. Just is. It's sad, but he just is. He's getting slower, of course. His positional awareness has never been great, but that's taken a downturn. His decision making's poor. I think he's very overconfident in some phases. Doesn't offer anything going forwards. What was that mental stat that I gave in my video, lads? What was that mental stat? That Ake in the first half of the season had generated more expected assists. Ake's a centre-back. Like, what are we doing? What's going on here, Kyle? What's going on? Let's not misquote him. Expected assists. No, for City players, you dork. Pissing me off. There we go. End of the season, his numbers did go up, to be fair. That, as I discussed in my video, guys, that was because of the system change. But yeah, to be fair, less than players you would expect, in fairness. What about per 90, though? That's interesting. Well, how about expected assists per 90? Shout out Mateus Nunes, who has the best expected assists per 90. Well, that can't be right. Oh, because I'm on page 2. I was so confused. Like, how has Mateus Nunes got more than De Bruyne? But no, he doesn't. Yeah, so if we're talking expected assists per 90, De Bruyne, Sergio Gomez, Oscar Bob, Doku, Bernardo, Foden, Grealish, Lewis, Alvarez, Mateus Nunes, Haaland, Rodri, James McAtee, all got better expected assist numbers than Walker, who's supposed to be our winger in that situation, and played it the majority of the season. It's not quite good enough and got 0 goals. It's not even like he's contributing there. At least Gavardia was getting some goals for us, so yeah. It's a sticky one. Ah, you've exposed... What the hell, Thunder Road? You've exposed me. Maybe. Onana might be an interesting shout, to be fair. We suffer from heavily... Well, he missed half the season, though. He missed half the season. So, he might play more minutes next year. Elise, I like Elise, but there's another winger who I'd prefer. Ray Sharon as Archie, brilliant. Gomez must go. KDB should leave. You can't... No, okay, let's not be silly. For Gomez, I think he's generally really good. Just been hoed a bit by Pep. I just don't know what he is. Is that it's because he's big up? I just don't know what he is as a player. To be honest, is he a winger? Is he a midfielder? Is he a double pivot midfielder? Is he a fullback? I don't know what he is. He doesn't seem to be doing enough well. You get me? Then Walker. Oh my god, yeah. This again, it's really annoying because again, I like Walker. If you tell me to make a best ever Premier League starting 11, Walker's the greatest right back easily. Who's banned you, Michael? Sort that out, Musty. What did he say, Toby? Yeah, like he was saying some mad shit this season. Like it was at the Club World Cup. Like after he was like really bad defensively, And he basically said people have short memories. Like, but why don't you take some accountability? Like, just because you were good in the past doesn't mean you're good now. If you make a defensive error, you've made a defensive error. You're a defender. You should be able to defend. Like, what's going on? That was an odd comment. Yeah, really weird. Guys, I'm going to wrap it up here. I would keep going because we've got over 180 people, which is great. But I need to head off, and let me tell you why. Because I need to go finish this video for you guys. Because again, I'll repeat, I'm going on holiday. I'm going to Gran Canaria. It's going to be lovely. I will still be active in my Discord server, so if you guys still want to keep talking to me, you can join our Discord server, and I'll be semi-active in there at times. I'll be back on the 14th of June, which I think is the first day for the Euros. We'll do some watch-alongs and stuff. I'm going to work very hard now, guys, to get this video out. Schedule it. I'll see if I can liaise with LB, if he can, maybe, if I can premiere it and, like, coincide with, like, one of his live streams or something. But again, that video will be analysing the 3 players I think City should sign, and if we do sign them, then I think we'll win the Premier League quite comfortably next season. 14th of June, yes, I'm going away tomorrow, and it's for 10 nights. Yes, it's going to be lovely. Haven't been away with Mrs. Nobbins in a few years now, so it's going to be great. So it's going to be, obviously, guys, it's going to be a couple, just under 2 weeks until we have another live stream, obviously. So I don't know how you're going to survive without me, to be honest. But I'll be back, of course. Thank you all for your support. Thank you all to my members. Thank you to all my super chatters. Thank you to all the general viewers as well, for joining me on this journey and joining me today. When did I go to Portugal? That wasn't with Mrs. Nobbins. That was when we got knocked out by Real Madrid. Well, if there's breaking news, then I won't be here for it. I'll be on holiday, mate. I'm not gonna like whip out my phone and do a live stream if that's what you're suggesting. So I will. Don't worry. I'll wear factor 30. Don't worry about it. The City need a striker with Haaland's physical presence. Isn't that what Haaland is? Isn't that all that is? Hugh. No, I've not. I've not. I mean, some beach photos. Shut up. Again, guys, turn your notifications on so you don't miss that video. Again, 3 signings. It'll be good. Shut up, Toby. Again, thank you to my members. Thank you to my super chatters. Thank you to everyone. I will be back on the 14th. Again, if there's a Euros game on the 14th, maybe we'll go straight back into doing that. Yeah, can you imagine, Steve? I'll repeat, if you want to chat to me in the meantime, go to the Discord server, because I'll be active in there. I might do some tweets, but there obviously won't be any YouTube videos or streams, and there won't be any, what's it? I've never spoken to Hugh, though, to be fair, Akash. I think the only time I've really engaged with Hugh was he was on a live show with LB, and I was in the comments, and to be fair, Hugh was very nice. Hugh said, "Oh, Nobbins is a class," so I like Hugh, obviously. But yeah, I've never been on his channel before. Yes, thank you guys. Michael, thank you so much. Is that a going away present? Thank you, mate. God's presence wishes everyone a beautiful time. Thank you for that, Michael. I'll just put your chat on there. Love that from you, Michael. What is your profile picture? What is that? Blue. Is that a beach ball or something? With some green lasers firing out of it. I actually don't know what that is. Who am I supporting for the Euros? England. Come on now. Come on, the vibe. Who do you think I'm supporting? My boys. England. Come on, England. Right. Enjoy your evening, lads. And I won't see you for a while. So, yeah. But you'll see my video, hopefully, in a few days. Thank you guys so much again. Thank you, Michael, for the super chats. Goodbye, guys. Stay safe. I'll be back. Don't worry.